what they need to know and what they know as of now today? Can I do an entire assessment and analysis so that I have the data, the information and the knowledge required with me? A lot of us jump into action by starting off and organizing something. But can I take a step back and can I start a process with this? Right? So the first step is, can I do an assessment? We will look at maybe one technique in each one of these as we go further into a few slides. At least one technique in each one of these that you can walk away and implement. So after you do the assessment and you understand everything, the second D is called design. Now each institute is different, right? Each college is different. Each of you have your own strengths. Each of you have your own areas. Some of you would have the top expert in one particular field as a lecturer. Some of you would have one industry that liaises a lot. So can you analyze and design your own strengths, your own weaknesses and opportunities and threats as an analysis, and internally design what is required to actually reach that level of meeting up those requirements? So the first step is assessment, the second is design, and when you know the internal process, then as you work on it comes the third part, which is developing an action plan. So how am I going to use what I have in the design to end up meeting that assessment needs out over there? What do I need to actually do step by step? It's kind of a development plan that you can create. And as you do the development plan and these things are concrete, then comes your implementation stage. So we launch it, and in the urge in the third year, final year, to really get into placing students, we start off one conference directly with the implementation. Each year, can we do this process, then reach the stage wherein how do I implement and how do I take this forward and work on it? And while doing this comes the last alphabet, which is the E. Do I do a constant evaluation and review? Is this working? How well is this working? What is happening right and what is not happening right? Are the students happy? Are the organizations? Sometimes we call in one HR, we call in a second HR, third HR. Everyone gives the same similar kind of a feedback, and yet we still keep calling the HRs without doing anything with that particular feedback. There's so many institutions I walked to where people said vocabulary sometimes isn't a problem, English isn't a problem, articulation is a problem at times. However, we still continue to teach English, we still continue to teach grammar and vocabulary, and we don't take care of the articulation part. So are we taking that feedback and evaluating this entire process? So if you can go back and look at this as an ADDIE process, analyze, design, develop, implement, and constantly keep evaluating what you're doing. Can you create a process for your entire office that you're holding? And while doing this, remember that there are always the key stakeholders, the multiple crunches from all sides. You said that you're liaised in between two people. I say this, press from all sides. From the student side, places, find us opportunities. From the management side, do something, get companies to come to the campus. From the industry that always says, give us the good skills. And then from the parents that kind of come in and say, what are we doing? We're sending our students over here. So constant, from the teachers, from the lecturers saying that we're teaching all of this, what's the point? They're not showing interest in classes because companies aren't coming for placement. Crunch from all sides and all directions. A number of stakeholders to take care of are huge. So with that sensitivity and keeping in mind from various stakeholders, can I look at a process of doing an ADDIE? Keeping this in mind, all that we would look at, and I would love to do this very brief with very little bit of glimpse into each one as an insight that we can take away, is assessment in two ways. Can I do the assessment of the market that surrounds in terms of the companies, and can I do the assessment of what are the various needs of those companies that come around? Now morning the speakers have given a lot of inputs, a lot about the needs. What do organizations look for? What is important for them today? The attitude that becomes important, the innovativeness that becomes important, and not necessarily the knowledge and skill. So there are a lot of things about what organizations really need, and sometimes we don't consider that when we really try and do this. So can we do that assessment? Second, we'll look at SWOT analysis, which we don't need to look at in detail. I'm sure you're all familiar with SWOT, right? How many of you are familiar with SWOT analysis? You remember what to say. That's great. Yeah? Third, in terms of developing a plan, the one point we will touch upon is branding. How to brand ourselves in the institute that we do have. And then fourth, when we talk about implementation, we look at 2 or 3 key points, and also touch upon how much you can use social media and the networking that you have to communicate and implement all of your plans. And then the evaluation, to take the feedback from every possible level. So one glimpse into each one of these is what we will look at today. And when I tell people with understanding the marketing trends, like for example what everyone spoke today, in fact you said about bringing tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 companies into colleges. With the exception of maybe the tier 1 companies, 90% of a lot of tier 2, tier 3 companies do not hold a technical interview, technical test for students a lot. They just hold the aptitude and then the attitude, the interview, etc. and don't even get into that. Yet we focus so much on the technical aspects. Now tier 1, a Wipro or Infosys definitely recruits in masses, so they also want to filter that way. But like they were speaking in the morning, most SMEs, like Mr. Varun was also sharing, don't even look for that sometimes, So more than the technical knowledge, can we look at the attitude part, the innovation part that works? Want to share?
Yeah, ma'am, it's the other way around, Infosys, Wipro and all, they only go for aptitude and group discussions, communication interviews, and then finally play. They don't hold that technical, round of tests and interviews. It is the other way. Whereas persistent, bitwise and all those tier 2 companies.
Yeah, the SMEs look for technical knowledge also.
They look for more of technical expertise and technical knowledge rather than the tier 1. So, hence getting into Infosys, Wipro is easier for students with good communication and aptitude skills. But later, some students face the technical, they are weak on the technical aspects. Yeah.
Which brings me to the second point about the assessment trend I wanted to talk about. How many of you are familiar with the BCG matrix? Okay. What you've done is categorized organizations, right? Okay. All I'm saying is, do we actually categorize organizations? Do we take one step back and have the attitude in ourselves that I am where I can decide where an organization falls? The BCG matrix is called a Boston Consulting Group that's defined it for those of us who are not familiar. It says it based upon the market share and how much of the market that the organization currently holds, and depending upon how much they can grow. So depending on the market share and how much they can grow, the organizations get categorized into one of these 4 categories. An organization that today has a small market share, probably a startup, probably few people, but has the tremendous potential to actually grow, is in fact a star. It's an organization that you can invest into, that today is just a startup, probably it's a small thing but has tremendous potential to grow. An organization that today has tremendous potential to grow, but the market share is high and the potential to grow is very low. Comes as a cash cow, wherein currently there's a lot that you can gain. So a student who probably walks in over here today, this is where maybe a tier 1 companies come as a star. A student who walks in over here gets a good pay and can continue to get a good pay. A student who walks in over here might today currently get quite a lot, but might reach a saturation level over a period of time. Then after 6 months or 1 year down the road, suddenly there might be a cash crunch. The salary might not get paid, or something may happen and the industry may topple. And then third over here, where it's a question mark, wherein the market share is low but the growth rate is high. So right now it's just starting off. Okay, you know that there's tremendous potential for it to grow. But will it actually grow? You never know. It depends on the organization. Now can you do that analysis and see where an organization falls, and not just look at it as an SME or a tier 1 company, and see where and how you want to place students this way. Whom do you want to invite to your campus? Now a lot of times we don't do this because we play the underdog over here, saying that we don't have the right to be able to decide because jo bhi aayenge aane do. It's like these three individuals who standing on the platform of a station, and there's a train standing in front of them. These three are seriously talking to one another. Suddenly the train starts to move. As the train starts to move, these 3 people start running behind the train. The train goes a little faster there and some more faster. Train goes some more faster there and some more faster. Ultimately 2 of them board the train and go off. 1 person is left standing over here. And this guy is like, missed the train, missed the job opportunity. Now you have somebody who comes up and says, hey, don't worry, there's 1 more train that's coming in about half an hour. Agla company aayega na. Okay? And the guy says, no, you don't understand. My friends went off on the train. I feel good for them. They board and you'll manage next time. Don't worry about it. And you don't understand. They went off, And don't worry, they're like faster. You have luggage also, They're more skilled. They're more talented. They went off. You'll get next time. Oh no, you don't understand my point. They came to see me off at the station. what happened to the company will get out of the train and then first get out from there, उसके बाद देखेंगे whether it's a valid train or not, चढ़ना है या उतर जाना है, रहना है नहीं रहना है. Can we make a stand and say, hey look, we don't need to be the underdog here. I can also evaluate an organization and I can also evaluate where I go. Just a thought for you to take away. We'll have some time at the end, 5-10 minutes, where we'll take a few questions. Right now, let's just have this as a thought, right? So keep that in mind and see, can I do this assessment of the market? What are the industries available? Where do they stand over here? Are there business plans there? Annual financial reports over there? Can I look at it? Do I know where they stand? Do I know what I'm getting my students into when I'm actually pushing them into a job and not just any job? Maybe the individual would be better off being a small-time entrepreneur than joining a company that's at a dog stage where it's almost a liquidation stage. Maybe. Thoughtful insight. Having said this on the assessment part. Second, which I'm not going to touch into, and I'll just flip to the 2 slides I have, is the design part that talks about the SWOT. Can I look at what are the key strengths? What is it that my students have as skills, weaknesses, what we don't know? Some institutions, finance is a weakness. Some institutions, the quality of maybe the curriculum or the getting approvals from the management is a weakness. Some institutions, the students not really spending time on any extracurricular activities is a weakness. Can you look at what your particular weakness of the institute is and work on doing that? Maybe not every institute needs mentoring and counseling as its key focus. Maybe some institutes need only the conferences. Some institutes need to just get down basic and then just enhance the marks level of the students. And that itself will add on things. So can I, instead of doing a standard list of 10 things, choose what the strengths are, what the weaknesses are, and work on those specifically and design my training and placement process that will help take that forward, enhance that forward. So with this thought on the design part of it, I'm not going to get into the details of SWOT, right? You're familiar. What do we do exceptionally well? What advantages we have? And I would love for you to sit and think back about your own institute and ask yourself, what is the one key strength? Now the reason I asked you all to tell me one thing you like and one goal of a training and placement cell. I asked you to discuss a lot of points. I said come up with top 3. Then I said choose one. You know how difficult it is to choose one. Some of you had the urge to share more than one, and you shared more than one because we can't zero into one. So how can you prioritize and see what is the first thing that we need to work upon? Because trust us, we cannot do 10 things at one time. I mean, one person, even if you take help of 10 people, everybody is busy, right? So can I look at what is the one strength that I can leverage on? The one weak. For some institutes, maybe it's not the alumni network. For some institutes, it's probably just a financial power to go and just push yourself into the market so many times in so many places. You know, sponsor every conference possible available, and that probably can get you to push. So can I look at the one key thing that will help me do it? That is what I want you to do when you do the design part of it. Opportunities. Okay, are there local markets around I can tap? What if it's a 10-member, a 15-member, 20-member team? Do I always aim at getting a Zensa? Do I always aim at getting a Tata and Infosys and a Wipro? Can I look at the other opportunities I will lose out? Are there alumni who are doing startups and can they help something? You know, can I look at small-time internships? The tremendous number of open opportunities that you can get by interacting with the industry. In the design part of it. Coming to the third aspect of the development part. Branding is a very powerful thing that we can do. Now, branding, what is branding? How would you define it? Anyone can just, what is branding?
Quality product.
Quality product. Okay? Anybody else? What is branding yourself? Yeah.
Putting the names in the minds of others.
Putting the names in the minds of others. Creating
an image.
Creating an image. Creating an awareness about you in others.
To reach to our clients in a more effective way.
Reach clients in a more effective way.
How to bring confidence.
How to bring confidence.
Develop the faith of the industry.
How to?
Develop the faith of the industry.
Faith of the industry. Awesome.
Position yourself in the market.
Position yourself in the market.
Reason for recall.
Reason for recall. Okay, remembering.
Develop your quality in such a way that you are unique, automatically brand will
Develop your quality in such, okay, unique quality. Anything else?
Promoting yourself, what you are doing.
Promoting yourself, what you are doing best.
Everybody knows you.
Everybody knows me. Okay, popularity. Branding is popularity. Okay. Branding works only and only when there is congruence in it. What you project, what we promote has to be true. If it's not, branding doesn't work. You know, people say in an interview, the first 5 minutes you can get away with you better than know something. Otherwise you can't really get it. The first 5 minutes are very important for the initial perception. First impressions matter a lot. Okay, the flair matters, how you walk in matters, confidence matters, all those things I coach people on matters a lot. But after that, if you ultimately don't have the knowledge, supposedly nothing goes. So all the projecting that we do, as long as it stays with whatever it is that we actually are doing. So do not brand yourself simply XYZ because 10 other institutes brand themselves as XYZ. Brand yourself on your strengths. Brand yourself on your key areas that you can put forward. It might not be what everyone is doing, but that will definitely get you where you're supposed to be doing. Branding is about 3 things. You need to ensure there is congruence between your students and the brand that they project. If I am from ABC Institute, every student projects a particular brand. Doesn't necessarily always mean that, they wear the same uniform and talk and walk the same way. Their alignment towards your institute's vision, their attitude towards your institute, every student needs to project the brand. The management, which is sometimes the biggest challenge, in fact, not just the students. The management, the teachers, okay, everybody in the institute. Can I enhance my knowledge? Can every professor say that I will publish 1 paper? Can every professor say I will get 2 of my students to do an industrialization project in some way? So can I get the entire stream of people available and then put that brand forward? And then comes branding of the self, yourself. You represent your institute to the outside industry. So how you brand yourself, what you talk, and then how you speak and what you say is the ultimate representation. Because what they see is what people get. And every time I talk about branding, this is a question I ask sometimes. Have you heard of a word called atom? A-T-O-M, atom? What's an atom? Anyone define an atom? Smallest? Particle. Yeah? Any other definitions?
Constitutes of electrons, protons and neutrons.
Is the atom the smallest particle? Is the atom divisible?
Yes.
Who divided the atom better?
Yes.
Who divided the atom better? Rutherford, right? Niels Bohr did the experiment, Rutherford divided. Atom is divisible into electrons, protons and neutrons. Okay, experiments have been done. So much has been done. Still today, when I ask people what is an atom, smallest indivisible particle. Why? It's a label. छापा लग गया उसका. Smallest particle. अब उसको divide करो, break करो, इतना कुछ करो, फिर भी वो smallest particle है. Brand ऐसा होता है. You like it or you don't like it, छापा लग जाता है. One interaction with you as an individual, one interaction with the institute, that brand happens. And if you do not choose what that brand should be, unfortunately, you will get branded as people like. And when people form what I call a label in their mind, labels don't change. एक बार लग गया that it is smallest, then no matter कितना, you will acknowledge everything else, but you will say, but it is the smallest particle. तो रह जाता है. So if you do not choose to create your unique value and your brand, other people will decide your brand for you. So decide on your strengths and choose to project one particular brand. At this point of time, I want you to ask yourself one question, and I want you to write that answer down on your sheet of paper. What is the brand that I want to give my institution? Ask yourself, what is the brand? Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
I would like to put up some of the parameters.
Mic, please. Who's got the mic?
Try to understand, we are all from institutes. What's the branding of the institute? That is very much important for all of us. I tell you why branding is required. Because students will take admission in my institute unless it is branded equally good. Otherwise they don't. Parents will look at my institute because it is branded. Companies will look at my institute if it is branded. It means exactly what? One should understand. Branding depends upon the 3 parameters. How they are flying in the air is very much important. For institute, the first parameter is the infrastructure. If it is flying high, you can say, what is the infrastructure? The second branding depends upon the faculty which is deployed in the institute. That is called the second parameter which is flying high. I tell you, those 2 parameters flying high is enough? No. Nowadays, the third and foremost important parameter is the placement. How the placement is done in this institute is a very, very important parameter. Unless and otherwise it is flying high, students will not take admission. Till then, the parents will not be ready to put their students in the the institute. That's the reason I always say, unless and otherwise, we take care of these 3 parameters flying high in the air, people will not look at our institute as a prime institute. Why I given this example? Not because of my experience. I spent almost 10 years with Theatre Institute. Before that, I spent 34 years in the industry. Well before trial and retired, I changed my path. And today, I am the happiest person in the world because whatever the success I got and whatever the happiness I am getting, it's mine. Nobody can snatch it. That's the reason I would like to put up this thought. I tell you, the day I joined, and when I joined, almost 28 companies, nobody was knowing about silver. And today, everybody knows about silver. How this has happened?
Start doing things right, and slowly over a period of time the brand builds. And second is you choose what are the things you can do well and create that brand while doing them. Somewhere, unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of time and space to do the first today. So we have to come in between and choose our strengths and also start to project the brand in some way, which, if it was not required, would be great. Today, if you look at it, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi is a brand and is known for that because he lived that way. He didn't project that. But today, as an institute, we have to do both. We have to live as well as we have to be able to project that, which comes to the part of, in fact, implementing that particular branding. If I may take that to the slide. Implementing the brand is about how you communicate your brand across to different people. What you say, assume that you've done your assessment, you've got your design ready, you know your key strength, you worked on the plan and it's in congruence and in alignment. Then what do? All this doesn't make any sense when I don't take it forward. Or will be like these 3 cats. See, I like stories a lot. I've learned so much from life and stories also rather than so many things. You'll be like these 3 cats sitting on a wall. All through, let's say today is what day? Friday. All through Friday, 3 cats are sitting on a wall. How many cats are on the wall, by the way?
3.
How many? 3. Great. Okay, can you a little louder? How many?
3.
Okay. Now, all through Friday, they sit on the wall, right? Saturday morning comes and they're still sitting on the wall. How many cats are on the wall on Saturday morning? 3. All through Saturday, still sit on the wall. Sunday morning, 2 of those cats are fed up. यार कब तक बैठे रहेंगे ऐसे बिगाड़ कुछ किए? No, I'm going to jump off this wall right now. How many cats are on the wall right now?
3.
Still 3, right? क्यों? Decide किया ना? किया नहीं अब तक. So there's a lot of things in deciding everything and having a lovely thing and actually implementing it out there, putting it out over there, and that is the action that you would need to take. And yes, it's not possible to do it all alone. How can you do that? These are again a few thoughts and see how you can take it forward. Build the network. Could be alumni, could be not only the college alumni, your college alumni. You would have friends who are in organizations, classmates who are in reputed positions. Why only the existing institute's alumni? Go back to your school town. Start from your school and say, where are these people who were my friends? Where are they? How are they sitting over there? Can they get a company into my campus? Leverage every possible network. Your network today becomes your net worth in every possible way. Now, when you're going to do that, what you tell them about your institute has to be in congruence with what is there, which you have to do all the development activities that we do over here. Events and highlights. It could be participating in events like this and then making sure that you just don't come, sit and go away. Participate, make yourself known, because the way you talk and speak and be over here creates a brand for yourself, and that brand will carry on towards an institute. Tomorrow when somebody tries to remember, oh, this college I met this individual, acha wo kya pata nahi yaar, let it go, pata nahi. You don't feel the comfort. Can you build a rapport with people when you connect and then make sure that you have the pull from them? In fact, Robert Shalini once said this on persuasion. He said, if you walk into a room full of 10 people and all 10 of them can help you in your life, in your business or anywhere in somewhere, the first question you ask yourself is, what can I do for them? Because the world works in a give and take law, right? So as much as possible, leverage your network, walk into events, organize events. Strategic is alright as long as you're also true to yourself. And then the third is, can you also leverage the social network available? Now we'll talk about social network. Before I get into that, in the implementation part, there are 2 more things, right? All of the implementation and conferences, leveraging the network, the alumni, contacts, etc. is at one level. Then implementation within to take care of the strengths and weaknesses. That's where your counseling, your mentoring, your training, your application of the industry, all those factors come in that you would need to implement over here. collaboration as much as possible. Now you cannot do this alone. Can you form teams with students? Can you bring in the other stakeholders and then ask them to contribute their time and their effort in all of this? Now will people do it? No. Right? Now what is the one reason most people sometimes don't? Because we also don't have a clear path that defines where it goes from there. But if you can look at it as a process, and if you've invested in the process in doing the assessment, the design, the development, and then at this stage involve people and ask them to contribute, knowing that the end outcome is going to be positive. Maybe it will start with a 1%, maybe it will start with a 2%. That 2% succeeds and it will go to a 4 and it might go to an 8, and then people can become involved slowly. Like Sir also said, it takes time, and over a period of time is when the entire popularity or everybody knowing a name comes in. So an implementation part, can we do all of this? And while doing it, one key part of implementation, a lot of people, when you say social media, what's the one word that comes to your mind nowadays? This is social media, by the way. There's a Flickr, to a YouTube, to a WordPress, there's RSS feeds, there's of course Facebook, there's Twitter, there's Silicon India, there's Photoshop, there's MySpace, there are widgets, there is no end, there's Dig, that's a separate blog, there are different, there's blog spots. Social media is huge. The platform is huge. Is your institute on each one? Just have a page. When somebody goes up and then types the keyword, starting from there to Google searches, right? Google placements. Can you have paid amounts wherein when people search out for certain things, your institute name comes up? Now, what do you brand it on? Pick your strengths and then go and then place them out and then see if you can put in the finances to actually, when people Google out, whether the right words will come out, whether your institute will pop up. I have a website, it's called revathionline.com. You go and type Revathi over there. Revathi is a very popular name in South India. There's an actress with that name. I don't know if you're familiar. She's done Firmilinge. She's got a small part. She's in Satya. There's a few movies she's done. She's very popular in South India as an actress. With an actress with that name, without a single search engine optimization, if you type Revathi out, my site comes up in the top 10 on the first page. It's been on for 5 years now. Okay, you type my full name, Revathi Turaga. The first 10 pages in Google are in my control. This is something one of my friends taught me when I started off on the internet, saying that make sure that, I've had people who are my participants who put fantastic thoughts about me. And I've had my consultants tell me, do not let them pop up in your list, because tomorrow if the student changes their mind, you will have a very negative thing radiating over there. So can you control the way the internet projects your institute? Do you have a page on Facebook? Do you have a group for the alumni on Facebook? Do you have a profile on LinkedIn? Do you put all of your events, conferences over there? How many of you have a Facebook account? How are you supposed to answer? How many of you have a Facebook account? How many of you right now have it updated over there? So and so is at HR conference by Aspiring Minds in Courtyard Marriott. That's the difference. Okay? Right now, where are you? What are you doing? Okay, that is branding yourself over there. How many of you have a profile of your institute? Brand it over there. A photograph. Click. Use an iPhone. Use a BlackBerry. Use any photograph you have. Click. Use an iPad. Ask them. Take the photographs. Upload. Instantly you can upload on Facebook. I know people who get 60% of their businesses from Facebook. Okay, constantly make sure that the world knows what it is you're doing, what it is your institute is doing, because the world doesn't have time to go and search for it always. And when you're doing something, not being able to project it is actually worse than not even doing anything. So project it and create that brand. If nothing else of all this you can do, the minimum that you do at this, be on LinkedIn forums, be on Facebook, update it over there, and then blog. Encourage your students to blog. And whenever your students blog, at the end of it, ask them to have students so-and-so institute. The number of times your institute pops up, the number of times it gets more privileged. Have somebody you'll have students who are website experts. What happened? But really used appropriately. So look at the assessment. See if you bring yourself to a mindset to say, I will be able to analyze the market and the organization. Look at the design, know your strengths and know what you need to work upon and what you need to train. Look at the development that you need to create, the brand that you need to build out over there, and implement it. Create the brand and execute every single thing required by leveraging your alumni and by communicating through the media and every possible way to actually implement and put the brand out there. And while you do it, evaluate. Because if we don't keep evaluating by connecting with the HR of different organizations, hey, this is what I'm planning to do, is this okay? Would you suggest something different? Right? This is what I'm planning to work on. Is it okay? Would you suggest something different? If you don't do the constant evaluation, what did we do last year? Do we continue it or do we change it? If we don't do the constant evaluation process, sometimes we get outdated if we don't look at what are the new things available. Right? So constantly put in, okay, and then see what you can reaffirm, what you can change, what you can add, delete, modify in your process so that you will be able to take this forward. So these were a few thoughts that I had in my mind when we thought we wanted to put things together in the form of one framework to actually take it forward, for you to do that. And as I would like to conclude, I always like to start and end in the same way. How do I like to start? I like to end with a story too, right? And the way I would like to end is by giving you an example of this French scientist. His name is Jean-Paul. He did an experiment with what we call processionally caterpillars. There's something called processionary caterpillars. If you go and Google it out, you'll definitely find it. Processionary caterpillars walk one behind the other in a procession. Now you put them, they go one behind the other without budging, tunnel vision, just this way. He did an experiment where he put them in a circle. Okay, the processionary caterpillars in a circle. And they kept going around one behind the other. Now right in the center of the circle, he put mulberry leaves, which is their favorite food. Okay? And these processionary caterpillars, irrespective of the mulberry leaves, kept going round and round and round and round in that circle until after 7 days and 6 nights, they dropped dead out of starvation, keeping their favorite food right next to them. They actually died out of starvation because they kept going round and round and round. If only one of them would have turned inside and then looked at the direction of the food, they would have found the food over there. Now this is the difference between doing activities and between accomplishment. Are we doing activity after activity after activity after activity, doing tons and tons of things that really work? Or is it towards a direction that is helping us accomplish the one thing that we want our students to be? That is, we want to be the bridge between you, the students, and your first job. The bridge that helps you reach that direction. So using this framework and using these thoughts, if we can take that step and walk forward. That's a little bit of what I wanted to share today. Thank you so much for being a lovely audience. If there anything I want a question and answers, because I do not believe that I can answer the kind of questions you may have, but I would definitely like, if you have any discussions, please go ahead. Have a mic. Just the two and the rest will take it later. And maybe use this. Yeah. Just use this.
First of all, ma'am, thanks a lot for the wonderful presentation, and we can say that it is the Bhagavad Gita of training and placement officers in modern times, because you have covered a lot of points. But only one question which I have is, even in ancient time, Lord Krishna also cannot elaborate everything to Arjuna. So one point means, all other training and placement officers, we are facing this problem, and few of us will be agreeing. One perspective which you have not considered here is the students, because almost everybody from this group are trying 60 to 70% of activities which you have mentioned. But training and placement officer is, fortunately or unfortunately, the human being who is saving other human beings. And generation by generation, students' mindset and students' attitude and students' behavior, students' perspective about their careers are changing so fast that what TPO has to do when it comes to the students' plane or the students' behavior, because we are continuously talking and engaging with the students. And even if you see from the expectation from the CTC to the careers, it's a huge and huge, you can say not difference, I will say different opinions. So can we add some perspective in this?
Sure. Thank you. Few thoughts with that, which I would like to leverage on from leverage on from the earlier presentations also that others have made. One is, yes, we do 60 to 70%. In fact, I am extremely happy to hear that number. It didn't come 100%. Yeah? And for me, that's a very thing to hear, that at least it didn't come as 100%. And the 60 to 70% collective also. Some of us do some of this and some of us don't. And definitely, which is why we started with the collective wisdom in this room. Now, coming to the students part, yes, talking to the students is there. One, all the difference I try to bring in also is, can it be a process? Usually what happens is it happens ad hoc, it happens regularly, it happens with a person's intuitive individual style by which we are able to do that. Right? Now some of us probably are following it as a process, but can we create a process? And like I would like to lend on from what Mr. Varun shared, do not start on the 4th, start on the 1st. You know, and start proactive is also what I would like to share. A lot of times what happens is you're one person and then there's so many students. So can I find a few students I can start on and cascade? You know, use 6 degrees of separation. Use those 10 students and cascade from those 10 and build. So build a circle wherein you can connect with the 100 students to the first 10 students. If I would have said, I would like each one of you to share 1 point, so what did I do? I put you into groups. I said, discuss in your group. Now everybody participates, everybody gets to share, everybody gets to speak. I said, pick 3 top things, then from there come up with 1 thing. So that way, can you start with 1 person, identify who are the 10 who can be your key ambassadors, if I may ask, key catalysts in the student. And then from there, go on to that next. Each person connects to 5 more, and each person connects to 5 more. And can you do that and then create a collaborative mindset? Yes, the strengths keep changing. Yes, students' mind keep changing. This is one technique as a process. Can you think of other processes? But can we do it as a process in a systematic way right from the start and then make it work? I'm sure it would make a little bit more of a difference. And over time, like Sir said, there is nothing else that time can substitute. Over time, it will build into a stronger network. Every network that exists today Facebook started with 1 person sitting over there. Of course, let's keep the ethical aspects of it aside, please. But 1 person sitting and started it off. Today, it's billion users and more. So it takes time to grow and it takes that push. So make it a process. Do it purposefully and deliberately and not just intuitively and spontaneously when required. I'm sure it will help on you.
Sure.
Thank you. Yes, sir. 1 question, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Friend, I've been to similar kind of forum quite often. And I feel that this competition among us is one thing that most of the time comes in between our superordinate goal. That our goal of each and individually, if it collectively say, is to make our student employable and make them place, so that industry benefit, the society get benefit, country get benefited. So why not we have a competition? If we join hand all together, and whichever company come, whichever skill sets are required, we share. There should be some kind of platform. If there is a Facebook, I have a TPO forum on Facebook, but very few have to it. Something like that sort. Anyone can go and press that this company is coming, these are the requirements, these are skill sets required. I have something on with me as a trainer, I have something with me, you have as a consultant something with you. So why not the competition can be a best way to reach our goal? Thank you very much.
Sure, I think that's not really a question to me, but it's more of a thought to everybody.
No, it's a question. Why it is not been now?
Why it's not being done? I
not been
didn't hear a question mark. So as you say, please, that it wasn't a question. I'm very clear. If it's not clearly a question, I assume it's not a question. Okay, thank you. Why is it not happening? So you want to take it forward?
I will answer it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
When I joined the institute, almost at the same time, Professor Subramaniam from MIT, he had joined also the institute from industry with the dedication to do something for his future generation. I am very happy that I got with an excellent person with me, and we have removed all the barricades that sometimes people used to say this is MIT, this is NAVET, this is BIT, this is COET. We have removed all this. And we have started working with each other, absolutely true. But what is our experience? Then the newcomers always think, you have got the data, give all the details to me. That's not good. That means we are allowing others to work with the crunches. Don't do that. It should be unanimous from bottom of the heart. Things will come up. Then things will be really, really good. Ask anybody, even Mishra, because unless and otherwise your wavelengths are matched, you cannot be a part of others. Take it granted.
Thank you. If I
Only one addition. If we don't follow what was suggested, you will be directly or indirectly misleading your own management.
Okay, just general thought. Let's not share more. But two thoughts to actually point here. Post that we can continue this. I am for one very happy to go on till 2 o'clock, which is when I should leave from a flight. But then I'm very sure some of you must be feeling hungry. Okay, so two thoughts to add on over here. The question was, why doesn't it happen? I think we all agree that is the apt way that it really works. Win-win works, collaborativeness works. It sounds nice and very ideal in the idealistic world. One reason I believe, let me take an analogy to that to corporates. Talk about teamwork, talk about interdependence. Stephen Covey, I'll go back to one of my favorites, right? Stephen Covey and Zig are two of my favorites. Stephen Covey talks about 7 habits of highly effective people. Heard of the book? Yeah. Taught his students to read it. What a lot of people miss out in this book is, this is one picture that describes all the 7 habits. Okay? People remember the 7 habits, the 3 personal dimensions, the 3 other ones, sharpen the saw. But people miss out one thing. He says everything in life starts with dependence. And from dependence, you gain personal mastery. And then you reach independence. And only after that, you can think of interdependence. When I say I, not me, but I would say an institute or an individual feels insecure in collaborating because you're not independent yourself. Create that strong brand within for yourself. The team member who is most happy in giving is the one who does not feel the insecurity of what if, will I become redundant. So when I reach that stage where I am, so it's an introspection is what I would say than saying why is he or she not collaborating. Okay? Irrespective of that, can I give? That brings me to my second point. There is a book that's called The Go-Giver. I don't know if you've heard of the book. Not The Go-Getter. That's very common. There's a book called The Go-Giver. It's by Bob Berg and another individual. I'm not getting the name right now. It's a fantastic book. It talks about giving to gain business. How is it that if you give selflessly, you actually succeed in business? It talks about 5 principles. It says principle 1. The summary of it. It says is to give value, not product to customers. Right? You talk about the students or you talk about the organizations. Offer them value. Students in terms of classes and teaching, and organizations who are your customers in terms of what it is that you teach them. The second principle it talks about is serve as many as possible. Not one and not few. It could be one little thing, but spread it to as much as possible. For me training, I do for 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 audiences at one time. It is spray and pray. Spray and then pray that something goes in somewhere. Kind of give as much, as many people as possible. The third principle talks about do not keep an account of everything. It says, "Maine kitna diya, kitna liya." You owe me 1, you owe me 2. Don't keep an account. Give and wait for the account to come back on its own. The fourth principle it talks about is put yourself into everything you give. What is the intrinsic and individual value that you are adding to what you are delivering? He talks of an example where an individual says, I have learned A to Z of every close. A, B, C, D, how to close a sale. Nothing worked until I actually brought myself into it, and that's when I was able to sell. What is the value you bring, your individualistic value over there? And the fifth principle he says, and while you do all this, be open to receiving. Because sometimes we like to give, but we like receiving. Be open, create a mindset, an aura around yourself of being able to receive. Because unless and until you receive, you will not be able to constantly give. Okay? So that's man-made, right? Okay. Okay. So I want to close this with these 2 thoughts. One is the interdependence, inner confidence, inner strength, and then to do interdependence. The second is give and then wait for it to happen. Okay? Thank you. My name is Revati. You can feel free to reach out to me at any point of time. Revati Online is my website, and you will get contact details, or you can reach me through Dun & Bradstreet, to Jason, and to anybody else over here. I would love to hear from all of you. Feel free to write to me and to share any thoughts. Would love to get to know all of you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Revati. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's a wrap for today's second session. Before I say that the buffet is open, I would like to thank all of you for being here today. Again, taking time out from your schedules to be here. So thank you for coming here. Revati, thanks. I think it was an engaging session. I was out for most of it, but I've been here.